Hey guys, my name is Peter Park. I'm the Adaptive Sports and Paralympic Sports Coordinator. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. My computer froze, so I had to restart the live video. So here it is. The first picture I have here is Brian Seaman, U.S. athlete, the sprinter for U.S. Paralympics track team, and he is at the 2012 Paralympics London and the practice time, I guess, and he's just getting ready for the games and just getting focused. You can see how the big stadium is. It's the same Olympic stadium the Olympians competed in, and 2 weeks later, the Paralympians get to compete in it. Next, I have a video for you. It's little about the Paralympics.
Bem-vindos ao Rio, a cidade maravilhosa. Vamos lá, chegou a hora. Nossa história é aqui e agora. Vamos transformar cada segundo no melhor de nós para todo mundo. Vamos lá, nossa mensagem. Solta nossa voz, força e coragem. Vamos transformar cada segundo no melhor de nós pra todo mundo. Cada sonho uma esperança, entre a dor e a alegria, sempre nova a cada dia. Cada sonho tem seu preço, cada fim tem recomeço, cada um tem seu valor. Vai na boa, vai que dá, vai na boa, vai que dá, vai com você com vontade, inspirando emoções. Vai na boa, vai que dá, vai na boa, vai que dá, pelo sonho da igualdade em todos os corações. Brilliantly, what a goal! What a goal by Jefinho! In off the inside of the post, he could not have finished it better. Right now, right here, our body and soul making history, transforming hearts in every journey. Forever starts this very moment. Sing out loud, don't be afraid to try. Stand tall and proud, you were born to fly. Transforming hearts in every journey. Forever starts this very moment. Yeah, 'cause our hope will keep us dreaming. Every dream a new beginning. Another lesson love is teaching. Oh, there's a price for our decision. There's no difference, no division. Just believe it, yes you can. We can do it, here we go. We can do it, here we go. We're each other's inspiration. Together rising above. We can do it, here we go. We can do it, here we go. We're the real transformation. We've got the power of love. We got the power of love, yeah. Vai na boa, vai que dá. Vai na boa, vai que dá. We're each other's inspiration. Together rising above. We can do it, here we go. We can do it, here we go. Pelo sonho da igualdade em todos os corações. I want to thank Rio de Janeiro. Cariocas Fantasticos. You warmly embraced these games and took the athletes to your hearts.
So that was a pretty motivational video I showed you. And to next slide, we have the Paralympic swimming. As you can see, there are all different type of disabilities. The first picture you see on your top left is a Chinese athlete with no arms. So he's swimming with basically with his legs and his torso and just moving his upper body. It's kind of like he's doing a dolphin kick all throughout. And on the right top, she is Jessica Long. She is one of the most decorated Paralympians or most decorated athletes in the world. And she's been dominant for I think about past 4 Paralympic games. And she's a double amputee, and she is still training and getting ready to compete for Tokyo 2021. And the bottom left is another Chinese athlete. So because she doesn't have or she's missing both arm, she's basically using the towel on her mouth to hold herself up. As you can see in the back, other athletes are holding the bar with their hands or hand. And the final slide or final picture on the bottom left or bottom right, his name is Snyder, and he's a U.S. athlete, and he is he has visual impairment. So as you can see, that stick with the black ball at the end of it, which is for the person at the top, will give him a tap before he hits the wall, so he knows. It's basically giving him a signal that hey, the wall's coming up, and he knows how many strokes he needs to put in towards the wall and make that turn without hitting the wall. And moving on to Paralympic archery, you can see similar to previous slide, all different types of disabilities. The first one of the picture on the left top is his name is Zach, and I think he still holds the world record for able-bodied and disabled competition for the longest accuracy. I think he hit something about 1 mile or 1 point something mile. And a funny story, I had a chance to be his roommate for a Paralympic program, and I had no idea who he was or what kind of sport he played. But when I walked into the hotel room, he was there eating with his leg, and he had a fork on his leg, so he was eating with his leg. So I was very curious about how he was doing everything. And by end of the day, like we were throwing catches with tennis balls and doing all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty amazing that how you could operate the archery with his foot, and just by he has no arms, and just how he operates that machine is pretty incredible. And as you can see, the bottom right is there. You could also be seating and shooting in archery. So there are numerous disabilities and multiple classifications, which we'll go over later down the slide. And archery, we're also doing. This is one of our sport at the center that we run. We do it once a week, and it's open to everybody. And it goes on for an hour, and we have an instructor come in and teach you guys how do you shoot properly. And next sport I have is cycling. This also has multiple classifications or categories. As you can see on the left, the top left cyclist, his name is Lenardi. He was an F1 Formula One driver in Italy, and he had an accident and lost both of his legs, as you can see on bottom right. So he was the world champion, and he's the Paralympic champion for 2012. And the bottom left is a hand cycle laying down, so a different classification than the the top one. And the top right is we call it the trike. So it's basically the individuals with no balance. They have it's basically a nice bike, but it just has the 2 wheels in the really like a competition race bike with 2 wheels in the back. And moving on to next cycling is track cycling. So this is all time based, and there are individual. This is all individual events, except the one on the right is tandem. So first, the individual and the athlete in the front, he's the guide, and the individual in the back, he's the athlete with the visual impairment. Next is track and track. This also has multiple classifications like every other sports in Paralympics. As you can see on the top left, it's one of the most popular events, 100-meter sprint. As you can see, some runners have 2 limbs missing or one, but they are all classified as the below the knee amputees. So it doesn't really matter if you're missing one or two in that category. Everybody has to just be a below the knee amputee. And the bottom left is for visual impairment. You can see they're the U.S. athlete. Jerome Avery is the guide, and they are the top. They are number one in the world, I think, at the moment. And I think he runs about 10.4 seconds with his eyes closed. And on the right is classification for everybody that's above the knee amputation. And next, this is also track, but wheelchair track. It's also called wheelchair racing. And multiple classifications. And also at the top left, those 3 guys are probably the top 3 guys in the world right now. And the top right, and she's Tatiana McFadden. Everybody kind of knows she's one of the faces of the Paralympics. And as you can see, not, unlike the runners, this involves a machine with 3 wheels, and because they do go a lot faster than the runners, and it also has pretty big consequences of crashing, as you can see on the bottom left. And bottom right, it also goes on the track, but you could also run a marathon, same 26.2 distance in a wheelchair, and they usually go much faster than the professional runners. I think the fastest time right now is hour 18, and I think the fastest runner's time is about 2 hours and 1 minute. And if you're going to the field, the top left is called a club, and it's for individuals with CP that has very minimal movements. So they are throwing club. It's like a mini bowling pin. And the bottom middle is Lex. He is a visual impairment long jumper. So he jumps, but he has a guide that's clapping for him. So he just goes by his hearing and runs down the strip and makes the jump. And there is also seated throwing, seated javelin, seated discus, and shot put, and also a high jump. Triathlon is a pretty new sport. It's supposed to be the first introduced in Tokyo 2020, but now it's 2021. So there are classifications for runners and also wheelchair users. And it'll be their first time having it in 2021 as an official event. So this is the picture for Paralympic movement for 2022, what the team Great Britain put out. And show you a little video.
The Paralympic movement started with the vision of one man, Sir Ludwig Guttmann. Beginning in 1948 with an archery competition for injured service personnel in Stoke Mandeville, England, it grew into the Paralympic Games. With increasing commercial support and growing media coverage, athletes now compete in world-class venues in front of sold-out crowds and billions of TV viewers. The Paralympic movement started with increasing commercial support and growing media coverage, athletes now compete in world-class venues in front of sold-out crowds and billions of TV viewers.
Sorry about that. So that was about Stoke Mandeville Games, and it was run by Dr. Ludwig Gutmann. And if you are interested, there is a movie called The Best of Men. You guys go look it up. And so this chart is the Summer Paralympic progression from 1992 to current. As you can see, the numbers went up. And if you look at Atlanta 1996, the number of the spectator compared to the rest of the games, it's every game is about over a million, but the spectators in Atlanta was only 388,000, which says a lot about the general, I guess, idea about Paralympics or knowledge about the Paralympics in US is lacking. So this is something that like everybody needs to step up and try to promote and be out in community as much as possible for the individual to see people with disability could do also sports, and there is something greater than just what the what the public usually perceives. But number has generally went up over years. As you can see, 2012 was probably the best Paralympics we had, although numbers in China was a lot bigger. But London, for sure, that was the best. As when we talk about Paralympics, that was the best one we had. And in Rio 2016, which one I got to go to, and it was a successful year for us. And as you can see, 3.3 million people came and watched. And the top three girls, those were my athletes. And first time in, I guess, U.S. history, we swept gold, silver, and bronze in 5,000 and also in 1,500 meters. So moving on to winter sports, I know a lot of only sport that we talk about at the Paralympic or at the center is summer because we don't really have winter sports here yet. So Pyeongchang 2018 Paralympic sports, they had, as you can see, I'll go over from the top left. It's called Siski, sit monoski. So it's basically a setting mechanism with the motorcycle shocks underneath it with the single ski. So they're basically attached to it. That thing is about 50 pounds and is strapped to his body. And as you can see, the extension that's coming out from his arm is called the outriggers. So they are basically supporting and also the riggers to kind of keep you balanced and leading the direction where you want to go to. And right of that is biathlon and Nordic ski. The first woman that's coming in with their hands up is Oksana Masters. She is the most dominant female athlete in biathlon and Nordic ski, and she's also a Paralympian for summer sports and cycling. So basically, they're doing about 5Ks and 10Ks full on in their skis and laying down and shooting a rifle. And snowboarding is also became part of winter sports, and the ice hockey is probably one of the most favorite for most people and the most popular Paralympic sports. And I think right now, U.S. is number one in the world. And show you clips about some opportunities and exposure.
Away from the Paralympics, the movement is bursting with sport. On average, a major international or regional sporting event takes place every 2 weeks, whilst regional, multi-sport events are providing the perfect stepping stone to the Paralympic Games. Athletes are also becoming household names, recognized for their stunning performances. By displaying the Paralympic values of courage, determination, inspiration, and equality, athletes are creating seismic shifts in attitudes towards people with an impairment.
We are equally equal to other people. We are equal to each and everyone. We have equal values. We can do everything we want. That's equality.
Through the Agitos Foundation, the IPC aims to develop sport opportunities for all. No other movement drives social inclusion through the incredible abilities of athletes. Through sport, athletes challenge the way people think about themselves and how they think about others, leaving tangible legacies.
We will never think of sport the same way, and we will never think of disability the same way.
By enabling athletes to achieve sporting excellence, the Paralympic movement will continue to inspire and excite the world. Together, we are spreading a message of respect and equal opportunity for all individuals. Away from the
So these websites are the websites that you could access to get adaptive equipment grants, or you could also ask for grants for travel or upcoming registration for the race or any competitions. So the biggest one that you have is Challenge Athletes Foundation and Sports Abilities, High Five Foundation, Kelly Brush Foundation, and Athletes Helping Athletes. And also we have some local chapters or local organizations that have created for some adaptive equipment grants. So if you have any questions about that, you guys could contact me, or also Paige has information. So contact us and we could get you to the proper organization to help you get your equipment. Well, this is all the stuff I have for you guys today, and hope you enjoyed my presentation. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment below, and I will try to get back to you as fast as I can. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.